on the issues, but it's great to have a team that really understands strategy and politics.
Let me ask you, there were some revelations recently that you had a $2,800 dinner, just you and a defense contractor who now convicted of bribing congressmen. What do you eat? What do you get for $2,800?
Do I look like I ate $2,800 in one sitting?
It must be small
Actually,
portions.
you know what, it was, yeah, I always get a couple of appetizers and something to drink. I told this to the media. Unfortunately, they didn't report it. He left with several bottles of unopened wine, but the way they like to report it, they said this is for food and wine. That was included in the bill. That was not for what was consumed.
We called the restaurant and they said, no, that's absolutely untrue. Nobody ever leaves this restaurant with wine.
I'm sure it doesn't match the laws, but he actually got into an argument with the waiter and left with bottles of uncorked wine that evening.
So the restaurant
You'd have to go to the records, but yeah, no, absolutely, he left with bottles of uncorked wine that evening.
Let's move on to things like immigration. This is the big topic here in Florida. Where do you stand in immigration? Should there be a work program, and what do you do with all of the kids of immigrant families that are illegals?
So many hugely important questions, Al. First and foremost, with regard to immigration and what we're doing, the House has passed a bill to secure our borders. That's the first and most important thing that we can do in Congress. We have to secure our borders with thousands of illegals crossing our borders every day. The first thing is we close the borders, make sure that they are secure. It doesn't matter if it's unmanned aerial vehicles, border patrol, fences in the urban, difficult to monitor areas, even satellites, all the kind of technologies we can employ. First of all, secure the border. I sit on Homeland Security and Western Hemisphere, Central Asia, Middle East subcommittees. And we hear repeated testimony that 110,000 non-Mexicans have crossed the border, asked for amnesty, and our practice was to give them a card of a court date 2 years from now. We don't know where those 110,000 are. The other reports say that Middle Easterners cross Mexico's southern border only to traverse Mexico, claim Hispanic names. We have to know people are who they claim to be. So I have a bill in the House. Senator Lugar has it in the Senate. It's the North American Cooperative Security Act. It has a lot more cooperation between governments so we can have this information, Canada and Mexico. But very importantly, it prescribes biometrics for an identification card so that we know people are who they claim to be and it can't be replicated. The identification that employers have today from folks that have crossed the border can be easily replicated, and so we have to make sure of those two things. My goals for immigration right now, Senator Nelson says we can't do anything on immigration this year. I think that's wrong. I think the security of our nation is at stake. We have to secure the border. I think our economy is jeopardized with the illegals, whether it's going to emergency rooms or in our schools or so many other issues, or even the babies that are born here that then become citizens because then they qualify for so many other government programs. Look, we have to secure our borders, make sure we can identify the temporary workers that are in Florida. Because as you well know, our economy depends on our tourism, our agriculture, and perhaps one of the most important industries is construction because of the boom, but also because in a post-hurricane scenario.
I'm sorry to go back to MZM, that's the defense contractor, but it's important, it's judgment, it's a big issue in this race. We had two members of Congress that got the most contributions from this defense contractor. One of them is now doing prison time, and the other is you.
No, actually, there were two of us who, the defense contractor, who, by the way, the state gave tax credits to, so this was, at the time, let's go back to the point in time, was considered credible. But my role with this person, I did absolutely nothing wrong, nothing that did not follow the law.
Have you talked to the Justice Department about
this? They
have
not even questioned me. Nothing that I did not follow the law. They offered to bring a plant, an authorized naval program, already authorized, to my district with 43 to 50 new high-tech, high-wage jobs.
You have not released the supporting documents for that $10 million earmark for MZM.
I haven't been told if it's classified or not. This was a classified naval intelligence program.
Have you put the question to anybody?
I have.
And what's the timing for releasing that?
I don't know the answer to that, Adam. But I've done nothing wrong. The Justice Department has not asked me any questions. I simply had the opportunity to have a naval intelligence program in my district. And Adam, I think that really, I mean, today is the day for Medicare Part D. Seniors care about making sure they get their insurance. People care about insurance.
It's not really a process issue. It's a judgment issue. And in your last campaign, or in 1998, there was an enormous controversy with illegal contributions from RISCorp, as you know.
You know what's
and then we
about
do almost the exact same thing with this company.
Well, let me tell you what. Every day, I've raised about $9 million in the course, or 10 more now. But when you raise money in politics, if you were to give me a contribution and then the St. Pete Times reimbursed you, I wouldn't know. But it's illegal, and our laws are sufficient to put those people in prison. Now, when in the Risk Corp issue, it turned out that the person who gave contributions later reimburses employees, which I didn't know. As soon as I found out, I gave that money to an ethics commission to help to distance myself. Bill Nelson received over $80,000 from Risk Corp 2, which is something no one is reporting, never paid back a dime. So let's talk about this. So now, of all these contributions, anytime anyone gives you a contribution, Adam, there's no way that you can know at a later date that they would be reimbursed by someone. If it is discovered, that's illegal. They're punished, and nowhere in the law
but having
is it the
been burned once, did you not, when Mitchell Wade hands you a stack of checks,
no way, okay,
did you not think we got to be careful
Adam,
here?
there's no way you can know when anyone hands you a check. You have fundraisers all the time, and people bring you checks. There's no way you can know if at a future date they're going to be reimbursed, and you know that's very clear. Bill Nelson has received millions of dollars in contributions and hundreds of thousands from defense contractors, and some that have been in trouble. So maybe the focus needs to be a little more broad-based and not just on me. We've not done anything wrong, and those who have done something wrong have been punished. And I think we've addressed it ad nauseum. We've done nothing wrong, and we've been very open about that.
With more competitors, is this likely going to mean you're going to have to spend more of your money up front now than holding it for later?
That's a matter of strategy, Al. We're not going to tell you our strategy.
And you said something about raising $10 million. Is that on top of what you were going to put in?
Again, matter of strategy. We have our budgets, and we're working towards them. People are coming to electharris.org, contributing, coming to all of our grassroots events. Even when we did a little bus tour throughout the state, we had 700 checks during the course of that bus tour, not one fundraiser. It's just Democrats come up and say that they can no longer support Bill Nelson, that what he says he is when he comes back home isn't at all how he votes in D.C. Now, a lot of folks say that he's a moderate. A lot of the liberals claim that. They can average his voting record from the beginning when he started, when he was pro-life, when he was for it before he waffled and was against it.
I got to ask you really quickly. You were with the president the other day on the tarmac in Tampa. What did you say to him?
That's the $1,000,000 question. Everybody wants to know. Just think if I could fundraise just telling what I said, then that could really count for something. We had a good discussion.
All right.
So it was something that folks around the country had been asking. So
everybody was smiling, and I guess that's the good thing.
Yeah, everybody was smiling.
Katherine, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming back.
I appreciate being here tonight. Thank you.
And, of course, we will continue to follow the Harris campaign throughout this election season. We also want you to know that we've extended an invitation for Senator Bill Nelson to be on our program. He says he's continuing to work for his constituents and may be on later this fall. Now, coming up on the soapbox, we hear from local attorney Darrell Rousson with reaction on the boot camp autopsy results. We're also going to read some of your comments and show you how you can take part.